Hello, and welcome to the Weird Waves podcast. My name is Taylor, and this is episode 43. On this week's podcast, we are talking to Dane Ichimura. He is a photographer, skater, and new surfer out of Seattle, Washington. This is a really fun interview. You can kind of tell how open-minded and just open-ended this conversation is. It really plays into the fact that we're not really meeting new people right now. Nobody is. And so when you have the chance to look at somebody face to face, this is the kind of conversation that you can have. It's so awesome. It's lighthearted. We hear about how he chooses to take which pictures, kind of how he uses his introvertedness to be a fly on the wall. And you can really see that in his style. And we hear all about his new zine called Ya Bye, which I actually got a copy. They're super great. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this week's episode. Yeah, my lighting is pretty garbage because I'm in the spare bedroom of our Airbnb, so it's not my usual setup. But
hey, whatever works.
That's right. This is first one that we've done like not at our home base, so it's kind of. We'll see.
Yeah. Wait, you're in an Airbnb right now in Florida?
Yeah. So
it's kind of like in between moving and stuff.
Yeah. So we are in Lake Worth, Florida. It's about 15 minutes south of West Palm Beach, and we're in an Airbnb. We're here for a month, and we're hoping to close on a house in the next month. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's super cool, and so that's why everything has been just. We've only been here literally for a whole week. That's it. We got here last Sunday, and
hectic, dude.
Yeah, and we did like the reno. I sent you the pictures we've been doing of the salon, and it's just like this is the only thing that's consistent right now is that the podcast every Monday has to come out, and that's pretty much. Everything else is just kind of like,
Yeah, hectic and scattered.
Yeah, but it's exciting, so that's cool. And awesome. So where are you located?
I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The weather looks pretty good there.
It's been pretty nice, which has been cool. Yeah. Hard to complain with quarantine when you're like, oh, this is super nice. I can just hang out in the backyard and like drink some rosé and it's chill.
That's cool. Are you a native?
Yeah.
Or?
No. So I'm from Sacramento, California. That's where I was born. Well, more specifically, Carmichael, California is where I grew up, which is like a weird, kind of a weird suburb of Sacramento. But yeah, I claim Sacramento.
That's cool. That's how people from, I don't know, Michigan, everybody from Michigan, if you're outside of Michigan, they always say they're from Detroit, and they're all from all the other cities around Detroit.
Where are you from?
I would say mostly Michigan, but I've kind of lived. I was actually born in San Leandro, which is Southern California, but I was there for I was there for I don't know, less than a year or something.
Got it.
Yeah, most of my life was in Michigan. So I haven't been to Sacramento, but we went to San Diego in September. So.
Oh, rad! Yeah, I've never been to San Diego.
What is Sacramento like? Or Carmichael?
Dude, Sacramento. So in the summer times, it's really hot, just dry heat. It's triple digits. My allergies get really bad there. Other than that, Sacramento's beautiful. I love it. Have you seen the movie Lady Bird?
I have not seen the movie Lady Bird.
Oh, gosh. Okay. It's a Greta Gerwig film, and it's great, and it makes me really miss Sacramento. It's just a cool, coming of age movie about a young girl who, goes off to college and stuff. But good movie.
And so you were born and raised there your whole life?
Yes. Yep.
And what made you come to where you're at now?
Seattle. So yeah, I've been here for, let's see, January 2017 is when I moved. So 3.5 years. At the time, girlfriend, and then her and I were both just like, yeah, we like need to take some time apart or something. And so that's what like prompted the move. And then I had friends here just through like traveling and skateboarding. Um, and yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna go for it. Like I've never lived anywhere else, and like either we get back together after a little bit or we won't, and we'll just like live in our respective spots. And so I just stayed in Seattle, and I love it here. And it's like, yeah, I have a lot of friends, and like it was an easy move. So yeah, it worked out.
And what are you doing? I mean, not really anybody's doing anything right now, but what were you doing for work when you first moved there?
I first moved here, and I was talking to a friend who worked at a hotel, and he was like, "Yeah, I can get you a job here doing like valeting cars." And I was like, "Let's do that. Cool, sounds good." And he's like, "Yeah, the summer times are really good. Like you're gonna make a lot of money." And I was like, "All right, rad, sounds good." So I was valeting for a long time, and then through skating, I like blew out my knee really bad, and so that really sucked. So I was talking to the front desk of the hotel, and I was like, "Hey, this is going on with my knee. I won't be able to like run around and park cars. Can I work at the front desk?" And they're like, "Yeah, cool. We would love to have you. Like, we really like you. You've been at the hotel for a long time. You know it really well. So come work the front desk." So did that for a minute. And then I had friends who were doing like kind of like video broadcasting. So the Microsoft campus is here in Washington.
Okay.
And yeah, so I had friends who were working there, and they're like, "Yeah, you do photography. Like, we do a lot of camera work here. Like, just apply and we'll try and get you in." And then that worked out. So I've been doing that for like 2 years now, which has been rad.
So you work for Microsoft.
Technically, I'm a vendor, so not for Microsoft. So I'm like a contract worker.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the campus.
That's cool. Did you study photography like in
Uh,
a formal setting or was it more hobby based?
it started hobby based for sure. So like just through skateboarding, that's how I picked up like a ton of other hobbies. But yeah, it started as just like a fun thing. Like I wanted to shoot photos of my friends and like go on trips and stuff. And then I like dorked around in community college for a little bit and like did that whole thing. Took some like darkroom classes, and I was like, what am I doing? I don't know what I want yet. So like put a pause on community college, and then just like pursued photography more for fun or just like side projects or creative projects. But yeah, it's been working out. I've like done some paid. It's been cool. It's worked out.
How old were you when you started getting into skateboarding?
I was I got my first board when I was 11, and I'm 26 now. I've been doing it for 15 years, which is crazy to think
Wow.
about. Yeah, longer than I haven't been doing it, which is wild.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And how did you get into it?
Um, this story is pretty funny. I was being picked up from like after school daycare program, and I'm still a really shy, very introverted. But as a kid, even more so. And my mom was picking me up from after school program, and I saw these skaters in the parking lot, and I was like, "They're so cool, man! I want to be like them." And but I was like terrified. I wasn't gonna say anything to them, and I was like, "Mom, can you pull over and ask them how to ollie?" And she did. And then yeah, that was the first that I saw of skateboarding. And then after that, I was like consumed by it, and I was like, I want to do this. I want to like look like them. I want to play the Tony Hawk video games. I want to do all of those things. So yeah, that's how it started.
Were you really good right away? Did you pick it up quickly or?
No, I mean that's a thing with anything that you start. Like you're gonna suck, like surfing, photography. I don't know. Yeah, you have to like be put through the ringer of like, yeah, just sucking at it and like getting hurt and stuff. So
Yeah.
no, I'm not good.
Would you consider yourself good now?
Uh, yeah, yeah. That's always a weird thing to talk about, but yeah, I've been doing it for long, so I should be okay at it by now. Yeah.
How have you seen skating progress? Like from a surfing perspective, I've seen a lot of things change like really, really quickly. I've only been a surfer for about 7 years, but I've
Hmm.
seen things in the past, like I would say 3 years, kind of like
Hmm.
change and progress in a really fast way. I'm wondering what that's like in the skate world.
Hmm. As far as like, I don't know. I think skateboarding is like a really trending thing right now, and it's like a lot of people are getting into it, which is rad. Um, let's see. I don't know. I think I just know too much about it now, and I just don't care to like be a part of certain like groups of skateboarders or like be associated with certain skaters. So I just kind of like stick to my friends and like yeah, it's changed for the better and for worse. So for the better, I would say there's more eyes on it, which is cool, which means like there's more money for like cool shops and cool companies. Like the local shop here in Seattle's 35th. So there's 35th Ave and there's 35th North, and they're both like sister shops. And yeah, just a lot more people are taking interest in it, which is cool. Um, and then for the bad, like obviously the more people that are into something, the more like overpopulated it's going to be. So like with surfing, there's just more people out in the water, or like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just more people that are going to be in the thing that you love to like bum you out. But I try to like ignore all of that. Just yeah, stick to my friend group and try to have fun.
That's cool. Are you doing like longboarding and stuff like that, like downhill stuff, or mostly like street skating? Or I can honestly say I don't know that much about skateboarding. My husband and I got some
That's okay.
lessons uh at when we were in Toronto, and so we're kind of like those like goofy nerds with like all the pads and all the like stuff, and
Yes, dude,
trying to
I
like
love
drop
that.
in and learn. It's really fun to do
Hmm.
something for the first time, but I don't know that much about it. But I just
Yeah,
think it's cool to hear about it because skate culture and surf culture kind of go hand in hand. They're pretty similar.
totally. Yeah. Um, yeah, skating was kind of like born through surfing, so they're pretty similar in that way. Um, yeah. Sorry, what was the original question?
Like, I guess what kind of skateboarding
Oh,
are you
yeah. What kind of skating was I
doing?
into? Yeah. Um, yeah, definitely street skating. I've like ridden a longboard before, not really my thing. And then like skate parks are super fun, but I think like the area of skating that's like the most focus is like street, like the whole you go out street skating and then like you film a trick at a street spot, and like if you do it at a skate park it doesn't really count because it's too easy. So like going to a street spot like a ledge or a rail or whatever ability I guess in skating is just like filming stuff out in the streets, and yeah, and then putting out like video parts and stuff like that.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear what you said. Oh.
Oh, sorry, yeah, there's a connection sound right
Oh
now.
no, that's okay.
Does it sound
Uh, uh, you're frozen right now.
maybe maybe the Wi-Fi is not great in my backyard.
That's okay. Now it's fine.
Okay, cool. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, now it's good.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, back to like street skateboarding. So like that's kind of the world that I'm in, and like again, that's where you get like your credibility, I guess, through skating is like you go out to a street spot and you like film the trick at the spot, and it doesn't really count if you do it at a skate park just because it's too easy.
Mm,
So yeah, like street skating is kind of like the world that I'm in, I guess, as a skateboarder.
that's cool. And with your photography, are there certain aspects that you are trying to capture? Do you have like a certain angle, or what's your approach
Hmm.
to, I guess, video, like skate video and photography?
Yeah, so the approach in photography, all of my stuff I would consider like very candid, and just like I try to be like a fly on the wall and just like sneaky and just like not have people notice me. So yeah, I would say like candid. Like I've done like portraits and stuff like that, but the stuff that I like is just like going on photo walks and like snapping whatever is cool. Um, like for the Japan thing that I just put out, like all of that stuff is just like walking around the streets and just whatever caught my eye. I don't know. Everything was so beautiful there that I was like snapping pictures of everything. And yeah, I think like try and be a little sneaky about it is how I like to approach it.
Yeah, how did you get the idea for the zine? And maybe if you want to talk about that a little bit, we can put some info for people like in the description if they want to snag a copy.
Yeah, that would be rad. I have it right here, so I will show it off.
Oh,
Camera.
awesome! It's Yabai.
Yeah, yabai. Yeah, so yabai roughly translates. That was like one of the words, but it's like, yeah, just talking to locals and talking about, I don't know, like, oh, we want to go skate this spot, and then be like, all right, yabai, that's sick, cool, sick, let's go. So yeah, yabai was like the one thing that I picked up there. Went on a trip, a boatload of photos, and I was like, I really want to do something with these. And so it didn't really come together until like a month after I got back, and I was like, a photo show with all of these because I'm really stoked on them. And like, yeah, with all the COVID things going on right now, a photo show is not going to happen. Like, you can't get people in a building to like look at photos. Like, that's illegal right now. So yeah, I think like mailing out a zine was like the perfect way to show off these photos.
And what's the process like to getting a magazine printed? It's just so like interesting. Like when I was kind of looking at you and your profile, I was like looking at the printing company that you used, and like there's so many cool zines that I've never really even heard of. I just wonder what that process is like.
Yeah, dude, zine culture, there's like a whole subculture of like zine nerds, and it's pretty rad. And this is my first one, so I'm like not even in it like that heavy yet. Yeah, the process is like, I don't know if you've messed with like any of the Adobe programs, but InDesign is like the one for like book layouts and stuff like that. So yeah, just threw all my photos in there and started like matching things up with like, all right, that photo looks cool here, and with this photo, or like as I was shooting, I was like, all right, this is going to be a series of photos that I want to like be together. And so yeah, it was just like experimental, just like dropping things here and there on different pages and like seeing what the layouts would look like. So yeah, the process was very experimental because this is kind of, well, this is my second time making a zine. But yeah, it was fun. And then from there, I just like was messaging Girly Press, the company who did the printing here in Seattle, and they helped me like get the file layout, like prop. The page bleed. So like if you want a photo to like completely touch the edge of your paper, you need to drag it like further than the edge, and then what they do is like cut the edges off, so it's like a clean edge. So yeah, just a lot of things like that. Watched a ton of like YouTube tutorials for this. So, yeah, very self-taught.
That's cool though. Is it print like or like photos only, or is there some text too?
I was gonna do text, but I just wanted it so like I want this to feel like a photo show, but in a book. So I didn't do any text. Also, not like for themselves. Like, I don't know. For me, like the whole Japan trip was super an emotional experience. So being Japanese, I grew up in like a pretty traditional household, and my grandmother, she was like, yeah, first gen, like moved here to the States, like started a life for her kids, and then after she passed away, so like her, my mom, and then me and my sister, we all lived in the same house together. So it was like 3 generations. And then after she passed away, like that was kind of our like direct link to like Japanese culture. So when she passed away, it was like, all right, now what? Like all the cool Japanese things that I knew and like that we did in the house are now gone. And so I felt this like weird, just like disconnect from all of that, from like family life, Japanese heritage. So this trip was a big deal for me because of that. And I like wanted to experience this, shoot all the photos, and then like bring them back for my family to show them off. So
do you speak Japanese?
I don't. I got by with so little Japanese on the trip. It was insane. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, though.
Yeah, it worked out. It's funny because I like grew up in a Japanese, like my grandparents owned a Japanese restaurant. Like that's what they did when they moved here, was open a restaurant. And I grew up there, and like the only thing that I've retained is like food names. So yeah.
I guess that makes sense, though, if that's what you're around.
Do
I
you speak
think,
any other languages?
yeah, I speak a little bit of Russian. I have a lot of random, like, words from roommates that I have had from traveling. Like, I know some random, like, Swedish words, weird German phrases. But my husband speaks Russian, and it's funny about food because it's like if you need to eat it, you remember what it's called. So, like, I don't know, potatoes, sour cream, like a beer, all those things are, I
Yeah.
know, like Russian words for those, and like hello, where's the bathroom, like little things
Yeah.
like that.
Like you could get around if you had to.
Yeah, when I went to my husband's parents live in Belarus, and so when I went to visit them for the first time, I like it's really funny in the subway. So they have a subway car, and it's like
Mhm.
two. You can only go two ways. Like it goes into the city and out of the city,
Yeah.
and all the signs in most of Belarus are in Russian, but the subway like signs are in old Belarusian. Like it's like not even
Mhm.
Cyrillic alphabet. So Google Translate like doesn't work on the signs. So I was like trying to figure out and asking people, and like it was so terrifying. Since then my Russian has gotten a lot better because of like force. I think which is probably the same with you with like picking up
Right.
slang. Even just on short trips, I feel like when you have to pick it up, you will like
Right.
I don't know. And there's something about food. Like when we were in Uruguay, my husband and I don't speak any Spanish at all. And we were like learning all the like thing to order these quesadillas. Like
Right.
there's a quesadilla shop right across the street,
Hmm.
and we would keep saying like each time we would get better, and then on our like last day we were able to fully say our order in Spanish, and they were all like yay.
That's awesome. So yeah, the people at the shop got to see you progress on your trip. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is, but I think when it's something like food involved, I don't know, it's easy to remember. That was kind of a long rant about food names, but I can understand I can understand like why that's what you retained. So
Totally. Yeah. I mean, food is universal. So
yeah, and you take a lot of pictures of food,
I
I
do. Yeah.
noticed.
I never thought I'd be that person, but yeah, quarantine it'll make you do some crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah, just been cooking a lot at home, which has been fun. My top dishes have been vegetarian ramen. I'm not vegetarian. I'll eat me too. Tacos. I started doing al pastor tacos. Those have
Ooh,
been
that's good.
bomb. And what else? My go-to breakfast has been like I made my own granola the other time, like a week ago or something. So I've been doing like yogurt, some berries, and granola with like honey drizzled on top. It's been good.
I went through a really intense bagel phase, which I don't actually eat bread, but just because of quarantine in the beginning, I I just could not stop eating bagels. It was so weird, and my whole like face looked really swollen because I
Oh
was
no.
like not used to eating bread, but my
Yeah.
body was like, "There's a famine coming." Like I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like
Let's
it was,
prepare for it.
yeah. And people, I feel like a lot of people have done the. My dad said that too. He's like, I can't stop eating bread. Every time I go to the store, I just grab more bread. I'm like, I don't know.
It's so good. Yeah. It's a good problem to have. I love bread.
Yeah, me
What's
too.
what's your like go-to bagel situation?
Okay, so I definitely have one. It is a Asiago bagel or anything with like cheese on it.
Yes.
Yes, cheese, and then I do it's just even worse for you. So if I'm having a bagel,
Seriously, if I'm having a bagel, I'm getting an Asiago cheese bagel, and I put butter on first, and I let the butter melt into the bagel, and then I put cream cheese on it. Ooh, like,
That's money.
it's so good, and
It
that's
sounds delish.
yeah. It's usually I eat it like it's like a treat for me because I am not a bread. I just can't. I I don't know why, but I just stopped eating bread, and now whenever I eat too much, I'm like, ugh. Like all of my photos actually when we went to Belarus because I ate so much bread, all of my face just looks I look inflamed. It's so weird.
Mhm.
But yes,
Yeah, your
if
body
I'm
just like
getting a
doesn't know what to do
bagel,
with it.
that is my ideal bagel.
Nice. It's a great choice. I just had a bagel today. I had a little lox bagel.
What is a lox bagel?
Lox bagel. Lox is just like a red onions.
Oh, you cut out there.
Yeah, so did you a little bit.
Okay.
So I wonder if that's me or you. I don't know. I've got full bars. Anyways, yeah, lox bagel is the one with the salmon on it.
Oh, yum.
Yeah,
That's good. So we got really sidetracked on food.
I know.
It's like this
Crazy
happened.
tangent.
You know what? This happened on a different podcast too. We started talking about tacos, and it was like the whole first 15 minutes we just started talking about tacos. But it's like whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's funny how the format of the podcast has kind of changed through quarantine because people are just like, oh my gosh, another person that I haven't met because we're not meeting actually new people
Right.
because
Yeah.
we're all inside. So it's like I feel like
It's so strange. Yeah.
it's such.
Yeah. You haven't been socializing, so you just like want to talk about anything and everything.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
Like bagels and tacos and
And
like food.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
This has been a weird period.
totally.
Yeah. Our new norm is just like, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see all these changes. All right, back to the meat and
Photography.
potatoes. Yeah. Do you shoot photos at all? What are you into? I know you do hair.
Yeah, so I did go to like art school, technically when I kind of like messed around in college a little bit. But I never for me, photography, I just like to snap random pictures, like anybody does with like a phone. But I like people. I like talking to people. So that's why I do the podcast because I can talk to a bunch of different people all over
Mhm.
and for some reason people just like to talk to me. So that's my thing. And it's the same with hair.
Yeah.
Because people when they get their hair done, it's only like half about how good of a job you do. It's more about if you listen to them talk to you.
Right.
And so
Perfect. You're really good. Yeah. Yeah. If you can talk to anyone, that's a great skill to have.
it's a it's good and it's also can be weird because I'm also and my mom's like this too actually. I end up being that person that like the weird guy gravitates towards because I just have that like
Oh,
I'm
okay.
so
Yeah.
open
Totally. Yeah.
vibe. And you're like,
Yes. So you've had some weirdos. Yeah.
yeah, but it's okay. It's pretty cool. So that's my thing. So do you think that you said that you're kind of introverted. Do you think that plays into your like fly on the wall aesthetic, I guess?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I think about that. Yeah. Because some people are like with more like bubbly personalities, like to get in your face and like I don't know, get in close for a portrait. And I'm like, I'm down to shoot a cool portrait, but also that's not my style. Like I prefer to just like, yeah, fly on the wall style.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, being an introvert and like trying to keep my distance and like be introspective and just like observe a scene, I guess, as like yeah, I guess my style, like a lot of what I shoot is just like, so yeah, that totally plays into my style.
Is it hard to sell yourself while being introverted, or how do you deal with that? Because I feel like when you're a freelancer, you kind of have to push your skills a lot.
Like put yourself out there. Totally. Yeah. That's always like with any kind of like creative passion that you have, like that is the tricky part, is like selling yourself or like pricing your work. Like those are all really difficult things to do. And so, yeah, with like, for example, the zine thing, like I got quoted from the printing press and I was like, all right, this is how much it's going to be per copy. I'm just going to double that. And I was talking to my friend who's also a freelance photographer, does really cool stuff. His name's Cameron. And I was like, hey, I'm going to sell these zines. Like, what do you think about like 12 or $15? And he was like, no, absolutely not. Like $25. Like people won't even bat an eye at that. And I was like, okay, thank you for telling me that. Cause like, yeah, pricing your work and putting yourself out there and like trying to find the work is the hard part for sure. As in like, as an introverted freelancer.
Are you like comparing your prices to other people?
Yeah.
Or...
So like, yeah, I look at other people's stuff and yeah, I definitely try to like gauge what like market value is and like what people are willing to pay. So like meeting that or like even going a little bit above that, like putting value to your work, I think is super important. So I've definitely like sold stuff or like offered photo services, or like I used to like do screen printing stuff and I would sell my stuff for pretty cheap. And that definitely hurts you in the long run. Like it just devalues your work. Yeah.
How do you get out of that? Like if you've kind of priced yourself down, how do you pull yourself out?
It's hard to do, like especially if you start pricing your work low from the get-go. Like it's really hard to pull yourself out of, because you've already set this like standard of like, hey, this is what I'm worth and that's what people think you're worth. So it's kind of hard to pull yourself out of. Really making things that you're excited about and that you're passionate about, and then that people will see that through your work and be like, all right, I'm down to pay this much for a zine. For a photo show, I'm down to pay whatever, $150 for this frame photo because you think it's worth $150. Like people have the money for it. Yes, it does feel uncomfortable to put yourself out there and to like price yourself higher, but in the long run, I think it's definitely better for creatives or freelancers or whoever.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to know too, because sometimes I know even for myself, pricing with hair is I don't actually usually get my hair done. So it's hard for me to see how someone would pay me even sometimes, even though I know that I like that it's worth it. It's hard for me to go like, God, I don't know, $300? Like that seems like a lot. And then
Totally.
then so it is hard to in any profession, but I definitely think with creatives it's complicated too, because you are so involved in what you're doing that it's hard to sometimes like let go of it, or you just want somebody to have it. At least that's how I feel.
Totally. Yeah.
What are some like value you were talking about, kind of like value that you try to put in to make it worth it for people that you work with? What are some things that you're doing that I guess make you stand out?
I think how you can add value. Under promise and over deliver. So what that looks like, so example of the zine that I was excited about. So that's like the under promise, like, hey, here's what you could get. And then when people get it, it's like, okay, there's like a lot of pages with a lot of photos and like they're printed really nicely. And then like each zine had like, I did like a bunch of handwritten notes for everybody.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Then, so like that's the value. Like, and like I had this one really sweet girl that bought a zine and she had been to Japan and she was like flipping through it and then she posted on her Instagram story and she's like, this like made me feel like, what did she say? Pretty much like how with quarantine, like it's hard to get out, and you should like treat yourself to like an experience or to like, if you can't travel, like this zine felt like I was traveling through Japan again. So like that was really cool to hear from her. So like that's the kind of value, like I get, especially if you're working closely with people, like you want it to be a memorable experience. And I think that's the value that, and like with hair, like you said, it's like 50% of like what you can actually do. And then like 50% of like talking to people and like their experience with you and like the banter that you guys can have. And I think that's far more important than like the work that you put out.
How have you managed being your own boss?
It's hard. Well, okay, so with the Microsoft job, like that's my main source of income. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't really have to worry about photography being my job. Like as of right now, photography is just like fun side projects, like creative work. If there's paid work that comes, great. But like I guess I'm not as like regimented as like strictly a freelancer. So like yeah, it's been chill. Like I don't have to worry about that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I've heard people, they think that I've spoken about this before, but they think that they want to be like full freelancer and then they start doing it and then it's like, oh, it's kind of nice to have some direction. So,
Mm-hmm.
what does your work with Microsoft entail? Like, what type of stuff are you doing with them?
So that's a lot of just like what I do with them is like video broadcasting or like video conferencing. So when COVID wasn't happening, we would do like a lot of live event recordings. So there would be like some top level Microsoft exec talking about some new like Pro or something that's rolling out, and they do like a tech talk about like, hey, we have this coming out, like here are all the features, here's when it's available, like sell this to your Microsoft clients. And so like we would record that, and then edit it down and then like kind of disperse that throughout whatever organization at Microsoft was selling that product. But that was like, yeah, that's the majority of what we do. It's just like tech talks or like work meetings we would record. A lot of stuff like this, like a team or a Skype call. Like if there's a internal Skype call for like, I don't know, it's all pretty boring stuff to me, and I just kind of like zone out a little bit. But yeah, we pretty much just like facilitate meetings and like video chats and recordings and live meetings and stuff like that.
It's a pretty good gig
So,
to snag.
yeah, it's chill, especially now with COVID going on. Like everything is a video chat, so our services are even more necessary now. So it's rad.
Still working.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, very fortunate for that job. And I was like so close to quitting after I got back from Japan. I was like, man, I don't need this job. Like I can just quit and do photography and like go find a whatever job. And I'm really glad I kept it because everything just hit the fan. So
Yeah, it's now I think a lot of people are going to want to be employees. There's something to be said about like your employer has to take care of you, or even like the ability to get unemployment if you did lose your job. Like if you're a freelancer, you do not get that.
yeah, you're screwed out of that for sure.
Totally. It's going to be interesting to see how all of this changes. I don't know. I'm sure you're seeing it from the increase in video calls and stuff.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. How's it been for you? Like, is salon work your main income, or is podcast stuff?
Well, so no, the podcast is definitely only a passion project. It doesn't make any money. We've only been doing it for a year, and we consciously made the decision not to have any advertisements except for there's like one through Anchor at the beginning, because we do genuinely use Anchor and we love it and it's easy to use. So I'm like, sure, I can stand by that.
Yeah.
So hair was my main income, and then when we decided we were going to move to Florida, me and my husband and our friend that lives with us, his name is Vlad, we started doing Uber like on the side. So like, and we would actually sleep in my husband's office, which is closer to Chicago. We lived about an hour from Chicago. It
Yeah.
was kind of fun for like a month and a half. We would work really hard and Uber and then sleep like in the office and then wake up. It was kind
Right.
of, yeah, it was really fun. It was kind of like, I just kept telling my parents like, oh, we're just camping. Like we're just camping in the office. And it was really cool. And it was weird because so I was already planning on moving. I started letting my clients know about the end of January, beginning of February. And so a lot of my clients, they're like 3-month block appointments. So
Mm-hmm.
they were already not coming back to me before all this stuff happened.
Right.
So, I mean, the way that COVID affected me is really that I couldn't do like random people, you know, like I didn't
Like,
want to.
yeah,
So,
walk-ins. Yeah.
yeah, and then it also affected us because we stopped doing Uber like at the middle of March, and that was something that was not really expected at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of sucked. But instead, what we ended up doing was we just sold everything. Like and so, like actually we were going to take like a U-Haul and everything, but we made
Yeah.
and I also made a pretty good amount of money because I all of my products and everything that I was going to take down with me, I just liquidated.
Yeah.
So I have like a weird gap. Um but it seems like next, so not tomorrow, but like the next Monday, I think it's May 18th,
Uh-huh.
that I'll be able to open here in Florida. So that's really cool.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's affected, I think it's affected a lot of, what I'll say is that I saw a lot of really weird comments about hairdressers towards their clients.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't use box color or you can't do this or whatever. And I think that a lot of hairdressers are going to go back to work and they're not going to have as many clients because they were actually kind of rude. So
Ah,
it's actually a
see.
really good time to be a new hairdresser in a new area because I think
Totally. Yeah.
it's weird, but like long story short, I think that it's things are really tough, but if you have a good mindset, I think it can be an okay time for people. Like I think a lot of people are helping each other out in a lot of different industries, and you know, I think there's a little bit of a change in community in a more positive way. At least that's what I'm seeing, and that's kind of what we're seeing here in Florida. We've only been here for a week, but we've had like plumbers and like all this stuff, and everybody's, you know, haggling and kind of like, oh, I'll trade you this for this or whatever. It's kind of like gone back, you know, a little
Yeah.
old school because you
Bartering.
have
Yeah.
to. Yeah. So what about Seattle? Like, what's it like in Seattle?
Um, it's been interesting here too. So I feel like I don't know. As of so like yesterday was really weird. So all the stay-at-home orders were in place, and as of yesterday, like the weather's been pretty good for the most part, but yesterday was like the first really warm day, and I feel like everyone was just like, nope, like we're done staying inside, and we're just gonna go out. And like I went to like go drop off zines or something to like local Seattle people who bought just yeah all the like beaches and little like public parks and stuff were just like flooded. But there's also been so much support, like you were saying, like local businesses or like people like yeah independent freelancers, stuff like that. Like there's a lot of people who are seeing the love and support from everyone, so that's been rad. Yeah, it's been weird, like just all your favorite businesses, seeing them get shut down is really
Yeah.
sad. Like I was a frequent at this place, North Star Diner, and I would always go there and just like read a book and grab a beer and like get a Reuben sandwich. And now I can't do that anymore, and they're just like closed for good. I'm like, well, that really sucks. So like,
Really?
Yeah, a lot of stuff like that, but then yeah, there's definitely upsides of like the outpour of support and stuff. So it's been cool.
Yeah, we were buying some stuff for the salon yesterday, and it was in Miami, and it was like in Linwood in this like really crazy looking apartment, like like a warehouse basically. And
Yeah.
it was really weird because I was like excited because I was getting all this like cool shit. But then we met the guy there and he's like, "Yeah, this was like an Airbnb and we made all of our money through Ultra and they canceled Ultra, so we're just shutting
Oh,
everything down." And it was so like it was really intense in a
yeah.
way that like I wasn't able to like contemplate. And like my husband is really interested in business and like different ways that you should run a business. And
Mhm.
he was so, you could just tell, especially for him, he was so bothered that like this one thing has like ended something really fucking cool for, and you could just tell
Mhm.
that it was like these two guys and they had like was like the 80s like threw up inside of a warehouse. It was so cool though. They
That's
had like
that.
circle beds and round couches and like giant
Wow.
letters and all this just crazy stuff. And he was getting rid of it, but he was in like good spirits. He's like, I don't know what's next. Like life moves on. And as we were walking up to this building, there was a bunch of people outside and this guy was just cutting hair on his front porch. It's like, just
Wow,
like
that's
cutting
rad.
dude's hair on the front porch. So it's kind of this, I I hate to be like, I don't know. I think it's hard to be such an optimist at this time. It's really sad to see that, but I think that I hope that it's gonna kind of get back to like I'm gonna cut your hair in my front yard and I don't care. Like I don't know.
Mhm.
I hope it kind of gets back to that a little bit.
Totally. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever be back to like normal.
No.
Yeah, stuff like that is really rad to see.
Yeah. So when I first reached out to you about the podcast, you told me that I'm like more into skating, but I have surfed. So I'm wondering if you can
Yes.
talk a little about your surf experience.
Yeah, totally. So how I started surfing. All right, so last summer is when I started. Yeah, probably around this time, like May or June. And I was working for this company called Evo for this, just doing a contract position with their photo team. And all of the guys there are so cool. Like that's how I made some of my best friends. And so all of them skate, all of them shoot photos, and we're like all into the same stuff. This is gonna sound really stupid. So one day I came into work, and I was like, I had just watched the movie Point Break the night before,
Yeah.
and I came into work the next day, and I was like, "You guys, what do you think about surfing?" And they're like, "Yes, let's do it." And so Evo is they're like an outdoor so they sell like snowboards and skis and mountain bikes, skate stuff, and then they also have surf stuff. So we reached out to the surf buyer, Stu, and we're like, Stu, what can you do for us? Like, we all want to start surfing. Like, can you hook us up with some like deal on surf gear? And he's like, yeah, I got you guys. So we all got like matching foamy boards, and like we all got so our office was like part of it was right next to, we called it the Scratch and Dent, but it's just like the Evo like outlet store. So like any gear that got damaged on the trucks or whatever, like during the shipping process, like it goes there and it's like sold for cheaper. So got wetsuits over there. Um, yeah, we just like bought all the surf gear and we're like, all right, we're surfers now. And, yeah, it was really embarrassing first. I mean, it's still embarrassing. We all suck still. Yeah, that's how it started. Was Point Break at Evo. Um, but yeah, we've had some like really fun trips. So like, you surf the lakes, right?
Yep.
Really cold, not like normal West Coast surfing.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, the closest surf spot in Washington for us is Westport, and that's like a 2-hour drive, which is like kind of a stretch. Um, Again, yeah, just like cold Washington water. Um, But it was, I don't know, it was cool to like try and learn out there because it's like not like a perfect like Southern California wave or something. Like it's actually hard, and so yeah, we got our asses kicked many days, and we will continue to.
How big was your foamy? Is your foamy that you have?
Seven feet. Yeah.
Oh, hold on, you cut out. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, that's
7 feet.
Okay. Is it a Narlu? Do you know what it's called?
It's a catch surf.
Oh, those are awesome. We have one of those too.
Sick. Yeah, they're pretty rad.
Yeah, because the fins are really nice because you can put like actual fins in there. So you can turn pretty good. Have you caught any like green waves yet?
Like I would consider one day that I've ever surfed like a real proper wave that I've surfed. This is at Hobuck, which is like down south, like kind of on your way to Portland from Seattle. And it was like this Indian reservation that you can camp at. But yeah, that was like the dopest day we had surfing. It was just like a lot of the people that we worked with at Evo were all out there, and it was just like really good conditions. So I think that was the first time I surfed like a proper like green wave, and it felt really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was nice.
That's the best feeling. It's fun to talk to somebody who's like at the beginning, because it is a lot of like get beat to shit with no results in the first like little bit, and then once you get the green wave, it just goes like you'll be progressing really fast too, especially because you skate. So it's just getting to that point is always just that's where a lot of people stop.
You're gonna eat some shit. Yeah, like back to like the first question, like were you good when you started? No, nobody ever is good when they start.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's like, I don't know, it's humbling sucking at something. I like it. It's cool being a noob at something.
Yeah, it is. It's fun, like, for us with the skateboarding stuff. Like, it's just fun to be, like, the 26 and 27-year-olds at the skate park, and we look like huge doofuses, like, like, we've got all our pads on. It's like, whatever. My, like, insurance premium is high. I need to make sure that I'm, like, protected.
Exactly.
Like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's fun.
Have you ever gotten wrecked surfing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
what was your worst thing?
Okay. Definitely. So when I lived overseas, I was super good at getting out to waves that I shouldn't have been out at, because all of my friends were really good surfers and I wanted to like be with them where they were at. So I got really good at like duck diving and really strong at paddling. And I was just always out, in one time in like a 3-meter swell, which is like almost triple overhead. So it's pretty big. And and I had a pretty gnarly wipeout there, but I think my worst was at Manu Bay. It's a famous surf spot. And I got out, and as soon as I got out there, I was like, oh no, this is like really bad. And it wasn't actually the size. It was only like, it was just under 2 meters. So it was probably like 5.5 or 6 feet. And I was on the wrong board. I was in the wrong spot, and I just got absolutely pummeled, and I had to hold down, like, so when you're underwater, and I probably took like 10 waves to the head where I was like coming up, getting a hold down, coming up, hold down. And I just remember like feeling the rocks with my hands because I was so deep, like under the water, and being like mentally in my head, like, you've had a good run, like, things are like, you've had a good run, Taylor. Like, I think I was like 21 or something.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
Hold up, sorry, I'm gonna go inside.
No,
My
that's
neighbor's
okay.
mowing their lawn.
No, that's okay. Maybe the Wi-Fi connection will be
Is
improved.
it? Yeah, true. Hold on a sec. It's like really dark in my room. Hang on. Let's see what it
That's
looks
okay.
like. All right, cool.
So
All right.
all of a sudden, I feel this hand, or I like feel something pulling me out,
Yeah.
and it's my friend on a jet ski, and he pulls me out by like my back.
Yeah.
And he pulls me onto the jet ski and he's like, "You fucking asshole. You're such an idiot. I can't believe that you would come out on a day like this." Whatever. Like, and this is like my story is like people would always be like, "Taylor, you need to go home. You shouldn't be out here." I was like a little kid, like, I want to come with the big guys,
Yeah.
you know? And he just ripped me a new one. He was like, "You would have drowned." And he's right. I mean, he was totally 100% right. And yeah, it was like it was really a weird coincidence too, because usually you're only going to get jet skis if it's like super big and they can only tow in only. But he just like happened to be by the break and saw me getting pummeled. And I was actually surfing next to these like 3 Japanese dudes. And the one guy next to me, like, he also got, like, my friend dropped me off and then went and got this other, like, Japanese dude. And he didn't speak any English and he was totally freaking out. And we had to, like, figure out, it was just super gnarly. That was my top one for sure. What about you? What was your biggest, because you've already had one, your biggest scary moment, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, this was going to be one of my answers to, like, either I didn't know if I wanted to be my weirdest wave or my oh shit, but like, yeah, I got a concussion already, and that's
no.
Yeah. We were surfing at Westport, and this was a day that, like, again, like similar to you, like we shouldn't have been out there. Like we had no idea what the fuck we're doing, and it was just like a weird day to begin with. But like, I was like super in my head that day, just like going through some weird life stuff, and out in the water, and I was like, all right, like gonna try and have fun. And the waves are like super gnarly, like really strong, pretty big. And I was just like, just not being present, I guess, just like very in my head. And then mine wasn't that bad. The story will get worse. Mine wasn't bad. So I was like surfing some like little tiny wave, like jumped off and then like was underwater for a second, and my sense of direction got turned around a little bit. And then I like popped up, didn't know which direction I was facing, and then like bored just straight to the face, and like had a little like like a fucking little golf ball over my eyebrow.
Oh no.
And I was like, all right, I'm done. And like definitely got a little concussion from that. And so I just sat on the beach and I was like, all right, I'm out for the day. Like started drinking a beer, and I was like, you guys can have fun. I'm just gonna chill. And then like one of my friends comes back and he's like, "Oh, are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like, just hit my head. I think I'm good." Our other friend, Ian, is out in like, he went like paddled out back with like all these really good dudes, and Ian doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and he's in, like surfing me, like trying to get out to these really big waves. And like Westport, like the left side it has like a rocky jetty, and he saw like all these other good dudes like paddle out that way. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm just gonna go like follow them out and see what happens. Like he ended up like getting pummeled, like crashed into the rocky jetty, was like stuck on the rocks, his board broke, and he's like just like gasping for air, just like trying to climb up the rocks, like he's all cut up and bloody and shit. And yeah, it was just a really shitty, weird day. And so I got concussed, Ian almost died, and we have photos. I can share the photos with you later of Ian, but he's like holding his hands up and he's just like covered in blood. Like you can see his board in the background is broken in half. But yeah,
And you guys were all out there with your matching boards.
matching foamy board. Yeah, looking like complete jackasses.
That's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta do it. That's the thing. It's like, I feel like when you get into this like later in life, you do those like little, I don't know, goofy type of things where you like all have matching boards, or you like put your wetsuit on backwards, or you like try to, get like this super performance board at the beginning. It's like all
Yeah.
part of the experience, I think.
Yeah, some kook of the day shit. Do you follow that
Yeah.
page?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we
It's
we were
so good.
definitely we deserve to be on there.
You should just submit your your picture and your story. I feel like they would totally love that.
Honestly, yeah.
What about your weirdest wave?
Um yeah, so that was my oh shit moment. Weirdest way would be dude, oh yeah, in Japan I got to surf. That
Oh,
was
that's
probably like
awesome.
it was weird just because it was like the most surreal, beautiful, like picturesque moment. So like we looked at the surf report, and it was like near Chiba, which is maybe like it took like a 45-minute train ride. The trains there in Japan are so good. Hopped on the train and we looked at the report beforehand, and it was like completely flat. And we were just like, screw it, we're just gonna go have like a fun beach day and like shoot photos. Me and my friend Cameron, he worked at Evo. Um, Go to the beach. We're like walking around shooting photos, and we look in the distance, and we're like, are there people out there? We should surf. And so we just like found the nearest surf shop, like rented some boards and wetsuits, and went out there. And like the whole day was like kind of overcasty, like dreary, drab day. And what was so like weird and picturesque was like right when we got out there, the like I swear like God's hands just like split the clouds, and like the sun started shining through, and in the background you see Mount Fuji.
Oh my
And
God.
out there on the water, like wow, this is fucking insane. Like we're surfing in Japan, didn't think we would get to do this. Yeah, that was like the most surreal moment. Got some
That's
amazing photos. We were out there. It's like we don't have waterproof cameras. We're just out there with our film cameras, like holding them above our heads and like jumping over waves as they would come. And like we're like up to here in water. We're just like, fuck it, like we don't care. But yeah, we got some really good photos from that.
that's awesome. Do
Yeah.
you have plans to do any more surf trips?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This summer we're like jonesing to go. We want to go in near Portland. There's Short Sands. That's like a pretty good spot. Definitely trying to do some trips there. Hobuck again. Hopefully we'll conquer Westport and Ian doesn't die this time. And yeah, we have some cool trips planned.
That's awesome. So you have like your own surf gang.
Yeah, and we all suck, so it's great.
That's awesome. That
Yeah.
is awesome. That's so fun.
Hmm.
That's so fun. Um you're gonna get really good results, I think, with like locals because you aren't taking yourself seriously. You know what I
Cool.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what I see. Because it can be weird if people are like beginners and they are also in a group and then they're like, I'm like, I'm super cool, whatever, with all my crazy shit. But if you're just like having fun, I feel like you'll
Yeah.
have a really good experience.
Cool. Yeah, just
Yeah.
being goofballs out in the water.
It's what it's all about. It's just about having fun. I
Yeah.
mean, the my friend always used to say, the best surfer in the water is the one having the most fun. That's
So
a nice thing to
that's
say.
all of us. Yeah.
So, my last question for you is, what is next for you?
What is next for me? So right now I am working on just put out the Japan zine, but I'm working on another zine. So with like quarantine going on, I put out like a call to artists for photo submissions for another zine. So like the whole point of that is to like everyone's like isolating themselves, like staying inside, like we're not talking to anyone. So the whole point of this is to like create a photo community and like kind of create some sense of togetherness through this like a collaborative photo project. So yeah, it's really rad. Everyone submitted really cool shit. There's like 22 photographers that submitted like really awesome photos. So yeah, I'm just like working on laying that out, and all like the sales from the Japan scene kind of is funding this next zine project. So I just want to like keep making zines and keep like having stuff to work on. So that's what's next.
That's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
really, really cool thing.
I'm excited.
So, if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
They can reach out on Instagram. I just changed my Instagram name today, unfortunately. Yeah, it's _ Dane Ichimura _ on Instagram. My website's daneichimuraphoto.com. Yeah, you can reach out to me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I'm glad we got to pick a day finally.
Yeah, heck yeah, that worked out well.
And that was episode 43. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you want to check out Dane's zine called Ya Bye, the link will be in the description. It's really, really cool. I just got my copy today, and the picture quality is just insane. It's a cool thing to have. I really recommend ordering one of those. And of course, we will talk to you next Monday with another episode. I hope that you are all healthy and well and enjoy your week.